Hello, I'm State Representative Tim Derickson from the 53rd House District. Welcome to Ohio in Focus.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Ohio in Focus, a program that brings state government to you. I'm Brad Miller. Today I'm pleased to be joined by State Representative Tim Derickson, who serves the 53rd House District, which includes portions of Butler County. Representative, thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule and sitting down with us today.
Oh, you're welcome, Brad. Thanks for having me.
We're going to talk about some of the things you've been working on. We are entering the second half of the 131st General Assembly, and also the second year of you chairing a committee called the Community and Family Advancement Committee. Can you give us some background on how this committee was formed and your work on that?
Glad to. The committee is really a result of 5 years of work here in the State House, specifically on workforce development. We created a mission statement because it was a new committee, and since it really has no history, the mission statement kind of reflects the purpose of the committee, and that mission statement is bridging the gap between sustainable, good-paying jobs and the barriers that keep people from obtaining them. What has happened really over a 5-year span is Speaker Batchelder actually created a committee, a task force, a study task force on workforce development. And I chaired that and we toured the state. And really what we did was ask questions and really just listened to providers of training and workforce development related activities. And as a result of what we learned 5 years ago, we've continued to help folks find sustainable jobs and help them find training. Well, that has kind of developed over the years to this committee, Community and Family Advancement. And what we have found that it's not just education and training opportunities that people need, but there are other barriers that keep people from obtaining that work. So we've expanded the workforce development subject to include many social service agencies, engaging the church, but it's all about ultimately a sustainable job for folks.
So as part of that work moving forward, last summer the committee traveled around the state to various cities throughout the state to talk about poverty, I think, primarily. But can you talk about that experience, traveling around the state and getting input from Ohioans?
Yeah, it was very enlightening for the whole committee. We had 5 hearings around the state. And each hearing was a little unique from the last. Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus twice, East Liverpool. And each community has some different needs. I will say that the East Liverpool hearing was most enlightening. That is an area that really has some challenges. Job loss has been significant. And what we learned there from the witnesses who testified really kind of helped shape the direction, frankly, of the committee.
So can you talk about, just give us kind of a snapshot of legislation that the committee has specifically worked on or is currently working on that kind of moves this mission forward?
Yeah, that we had a bill, Representative Amstutz and I introduced a bill, House Bill 196, referred to as Healthier Buckeye. Healthier Buckeye, that particular bill, ultimately found its way into the budget. So the bill as a standalone ceases to exist, but it doesn't need to exist because it did pass through the budget. Its purpose was to bring together social service agencies and encourage them financially to work together to help folks overcome some of these barriers that I'd mentioned that keep them from sustainable work. What has happened historically is in the state we have agencies who are doing a very good job at what they do, specifically at whatever their mission, their task is. But they don't always, nor have they always been encouraged to work together. And Healthier Buckeye is a comprehensive case management approach to helping folks out of poverty.
So what are some of the bills, or maybe even from just a conceptual level, what the forecast of 2016 looks like in your committee?
Mm-hmm. The remainder of the year, we'll continue to work on this subject. Now, the committee will also address religious or faith-based issues as well. But from this point forward, what we really hope to accomplish from the poverty perspective is to continue the conversation. We don't have a bill in the committee at the moment dealing with this subject, but what has been nice is once a month we've dedicated a hearing to the subject, and we invite a panel of experts and just continue the conversation so that we as a committee, reflective of the state, can learn about who's doing a good job on this particular subject and how we can best help others. Mentorship was one that we recently had that was the subject, and that was really enlightening to see agencies who recognize introducing a mentor in someone's life really can have a very positive impact, because in many cases there aren't mentors for some of the kids that reflect just work ethic, and that's really what these organizations have been able to show in our committee.
So as chairman, you kind of head up this process of bringing, it's a bipartisan membership on the committee, of course, and open to public testimony, and just kind of a lot of moving parts, as with other committees in the House. Mm-hmm. How would you explain your role as chairman if you were to take a step back, and the importance of the work that you do specifically as the chairman?
Yeah, the fact that I chaired a committee 5 years ago on this subject, thanks to Bill Batchelder, and Speaker Rosenberger has continued to value that subject. My role, really, frankly, as chairman, is to kind of steer that ship, to continue the conversation on helping folks out of poverty. Now, I also serve on the Finance Committee, and one of our biggest roles as Finance Committee, frankly, is to pass a budget and to deal with budget-related issues. Some of the greatest expenses that we incur as a state are programs like Medicaid, TANF, and SNAP. What we really hope to do is, in the process of helping people out of poverty, off public assistance, it also helps the state. So we're really trying to encourage people in all ways of life. The side benefit is really reducing public assistance to many of our families, but in doing that, we're enabling them to hopefully find a sustainable job and feel good about themselves and what they're able to accomplish.
You mentioned the committee working on, its main focus being on workforce development primarily. That kind of moves us into our next topic. Last year you co-sponsored legislation, House Bill 3, which dealt with this topic. It's a pretty straightforward bill, but can you give the folks back home a snapshot of what that bill does?
I can. In a snapshot, House Bill 3 reduces the cost for a new business startup. And what it really does is lower the fees that entrepreneurs who are starting a business by 21%. Those are fees paid to the Secretary of State. What we have recognized, as I've been telling you with the folks, helping folks out of poverty into sustainable jobs, it does indeed take a job at the end of this equation. So House Bill 3's purpose is to encourage an entrepreneurial spirit in this state. Really, it's the small businesses that the state relies on. And that is something that we really want to encourage. And by reducing our startup business filing fees here in the state, we are encouraging that small business growth, that entrepreneurial spirit. That fee that we've lowered is now less than any contiguous state to Ohio. So we're encouraging folks, hey, if you've left Ohio, come on back, start your business here. And if you're already here and it is a goal, a vision of yours to start a business, be self-employed, do it here, and we're going to help you any way we can. And by lowering that fee because of House Bill 3, we are seeing some startups sheer number of startups that we haven't seen in the past.
That kind of brings me to my next question. Over the past few years, Ohio has seen record numbers, actually one after another. Each year it seems to grow a little bit more of entrepreneurs.
Easy for you to say.
Right, filing to start a new business. You've touched on this, but how do you view this particular legislation as kind of moving that forward?
Yeah, well, since we make it less expensive, we are trying to encourage that. You know, kind of back to the committee, we have been working on this workforce development subject for so many years. What we have recognized is there's a bit of an equation to help folks, and that equation really is kind of a three-step process. One, engaging the church. The church can provide ministries to meet some of the most basic needs for folks that really government has no role. It can't serve a real good role in. Mm-hmm. So engage the church, allow them to do what they want to do and what they can do at the local level. Second step is like Healthier Buckeye, comprehensive case management, bring social service agencies together, encourage them to work together to meet the challenges that folks indeed have in a comprehensive way. But ultimately, in the end, it takes that job. And it is encouraging entrepreneurship and job growth. And we hope to be doing that through House Bill 3 that will ultimately lead to folks not only being independent who have their own business, but employing others that have gone through this equation.
We have just a little bit of time left. One last question about House Bill 3. I think it's probably easy for people to understand why this would help entrepreneurs who are looking to start a business. It's lowering their fees to kind of get that foot in the door. What would you say to people who maybe aren't interested in starting a business, but how this bill will help anyone across the state?
Well, job creation ultimately is what this bill will do. So the more jobs that are available, more folks who are employed, and we see our state grow economically, and we see families grow and simply are happier because there's a job in the family, and there's job opportunities for not only the adults but maybe for the high school kids as well. We learned that over in East Liverpool as well. There was an employer who specifically employs 16-year-olds, 16 to 18-year-olds, who hoped to instill a work ethic with some of the kids who are over there. And it was the most encouraging testimony that we've heard in a long time. We want to see more of that throughout the state. And we do believe House Bill 3 will help in that effort.
Right. We are about out of time. At the end of every program, we have our guest share with their constituents back in the district how they can reach you here in the State House.
Well, we open line. We certainly have aides who will take those calls and obviously mail and email as well. Area code 614-644-5094 is our direct line into our office, and certainly encourage constituents to call with any concerns or questions that they have back home.
All right, Representative, we're out of time, but we appreciate you sitting down with us.
Well, thanks, Brad. Thanks for having me.
And we look forward to seeing you again on the next edition of Ohio in Focus, a program that brings state government to you. Thanks for watching.